Welcome to this brand new episode of Cast It to the King. I'm your host, Joshua Mickle. It has been a long while, once again, busy with work, busy with life. Next week, me and my wife are going to go on vacation. Well-deserved vacation that we haven't had, really just the two of us, in well over 4 years. And today is actually a special day considering I had my PET scan again, and I'm happy to say that nothing has changed in the last 6 months from the last update, where the mass in my chest that decreased by over 80% from July, which was the initial PET scan that was done after my chemotherapy. There's a in July, my first PET scan after chemotherapy. Then I had the one in July. Then I had the one in October last year. Mass decreased by over 80%. Cancer cells are dying, and we had blood work done in January. And now today, the PET scan results have come back, and it is not. It's not going anywhere, but it's not growing. It's still status quo. Another day at the office, and nothing to worry about on that front, which it's pretty remarkable of how many times I can hear people, like some people say about, hey, you need to get this done, you need to get that done, you need to do this, you need to do that when it comes to all the medical stuff. And I when all this went down, there was something that I was trying to repel back, like trying to fight it off, and I couldn't fight it off. Now, after the fact, well over a year post treatments, it's like I never missed a beat. It's like it's never happened. And so it's just one of those things that kind of irks me where, yay, we got the great news. My everyday activities could have told you that I'm in the clear, but that's a sort of topic I won't get into pretty much. But pretty much, PET scan results show that I am pretty much cancer free, and I got the doctor's appointment coming up later this upcoming week. And I expect to hear from the doctor to say, all right, your next PET scan is next year, not in 6 months. I expect to hear that. So I will push back if I do have to hear from him. Another one in October. We want to have another PET scan in October. I will push back on that. Because, at this point, like, I'm living life normally. Like, they don't need me. I don't need them anymore in terms of, like, all they do is just check up on me. I'm 31 years old, and what happened is just just something of a fluke nature of how it happened and why it happened. And then also, with the support of friends and family around here, especially here in Memphis, it's like to have their love and support. And then also to draw closer in my marriage and then in my faith in Jesus. And then I remember midway after the fifth treatment, like midway through the fifth treatment, whether it was the Holy Spirit or it was God himself telling me, and I've told my friends, my family, and my wife this, midway through the fifth treatment, something was telling me, you're healed. It's done. Don't worry anymore. It's done. And then the sixth treatment came, and I felt pretty much nothing, because pretty much going through all those white blood cell shots, which was the worst part of the whole thing. It wasn't getting the actual chemotherapy orange bags per se. It wasn't any of that in-house stuff. It was them giving me the white blood cell shots that just messed up my bones and left me in the most severe pain possible. But after that fifth treatment on, it's been smooth sailing. I've been doing stuff around the house, active, and I'm back. I'm not the scrawny, skinny I was when this all was finished. I'm not at an overweight weight, but I'm somewhere in the middle. Some would say I still need to eat better, but because of all this stuff that's been going on, there are days where I may eat like I used to, and then there are days because when I eat that much, it is the next day later that it seems like my stomach has shrunketh, and I eat like it levels out for you. All right. With all that hunky-dory stuff down, I forgot to put this in my show notes, but I will list it off right here as we're talking about it, and that is this. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys have made a trade a few days ago for one George Pickens, the wide receiver from Pittsburgh. He is now a Dallas Cowboy, and he is on his way to be Dak's new BFF along with CeeDee Lamb. Now, what does all this mean? It means the Steelers in some way or fashion fleece the Cowboys because the Cowboys are about to get the next version of Antonio Brown, essentially. The dude wants targets. What do you think is going to happen on the Cowboys sideline when he is not getting targets because he is the wide receiver 2 and not number 1? That belongs to CeeDee Lamb. Folks assume that the Cowboys are going to extend George Pickens. He's on his last year of his contract. I say hold the phone there. Not necessarily. The Texans traded for Stephon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. Gave up a second-round pick, I believe. He is now a New England Patriot 1 year later. He did not re-sign with the Houston Texans. So there is precedent, and especially in the last year with different NFL teams, where you trade for a player, you think you're going to bring him in and keep him, but no, it's a 1 year rental. I suspect this is going to be a 1 year rental, but with Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, you never know. It's crazy. All right. First topic, homegrown topic. Hits close to home, and it's where I work. And that's this. Axis Conference 2025 has sold out. Not only sold out, it has sold out in record speed, record time. I believe the date, it was late. If I'm not mistaken, this was right after, I believe, the NFL draft. Like the day after the NFL draft, on the 27th of April. That this sold out. And this is the earliest that this thing has sold out for. And it's pretty remarkable. And we just had one of our Wednesday night youth group services where for one Wednesday every few months, we have 3 locations in the Memphis region, and then for one Wednesday they gather at one location at our main location at Collierville, at our Seaville location. Funny how when I was in Axis as a youth student, we were praying for the days of, we hope we can crack 1,000. We hope we can crack 1,000 students for Axis Conference. We hope we can crack 1,000 one day. And we easily now do that for one night. That's how much Axis, this youth ministry, has grown. They have now spun off a worship arm that is now producing original songs along with the Life Church. They are growing in terms of influence around the country of how many youth groups they have impacted, how much they are like grabbing eyes and ears to. And what, especially with this being sold out so early in the process, without even hitting May yet, when it sold out, what does this ultimately mean? There have been rumblings that this conference will eventually find its way to another venue. Whether, I mean, take that what you will. From what I've heard, from the doldrums of where I work at there, to whispers that I hear from other leaders there that I work with as well, is that eventually, if this keeps happening, this conference is going to move to a bigger venue. And the dream is obviously FedEx Forum. Over 20,000 capacity, obviously. You can obviously not only draw folks for conferences for churches, but also many more local churches in the Memphis region that you can possibly get a hold of and collaborate with and get them to come out. So it's really, really exciting where this is going to lead in the future for future Access conferences as a whole, because this, with the way this has sold out so fast, the waiting list is really long in case someone wants to budge out at the last second. I mean, to those that are waiting on the wait list and maybe taking a little bit, and didn't pounce on it early. Yeah, you got the wait list. I'd say like next year, like the moment the tickets drop, like when conference is over, get the super early bird offers that are out there for next year, because they will go quickly. Here's a prediction I will make for you. With how fast conference sold out this year, I'm predicting that in sometime in July, we will know that we are at half capacity for Access Conference 2026. That's my prediction for you right there. We will know by sometime in July that we are at half capacity. The auditorium that we have for capacity is just below 2,000. Just below 2,000. Now, there are some recommendations that I've heard that you could carry a live, like you can have an overflow. Funny enough, no pun intended. You can have an overflow section at the church for other students that can't get into the auditorium. They will be redirected to X location and worship there and listen to the word there and engage there, as if it was one of our other locations on a Sunday, essentially. But it will still be at the one location for the conferences. That's a potential possibility. But the way they format the mapping, the rooms for particular things they want to do there, that's not happening anytime soon. We'll see what happens in 2026. But the future. We added a Nashville location last year. We added. We are on the cusp. Like, New York is like over capacity for all their services. They're on the cusp of possibly getting another location. From an outsider's point of view, like anyone could say that. Like, they need another location. Massachusetts has opened up another location for the Life Church. We are shepherding in. What's the word? Like, mentoring or shepherding in churches out in California that are connected with us. Folks in the ARC part of ARC. The ARC churches are a part of this. There's a church that my family goes to in Virginia that used to be called Community Church. Now it's called Alive Church. They come to the conferences every year, and they're going to also have their own conference this year, from what I've heard from folks there at that church in the Hampton Roads region. And kudos to them, because like they can take the lessons of Access Conference and apply to their own and reach out to youth in that area that can't make the flight to Memphis or the drive to Memphis. But I mean, that's a little bit of on the life side of the 3-parter of our show, sports, movies, and life. This is the life part of it, where there's it's just something that needs to be touched up on, and also a fun little nugget that it's also a nugget where I work at, funny enough. So no conflict of interest here. Even though I work there, I'm just being level-headed with you as I talk about this, and it's something I love to be involved with, and it's something that's changed my life for the better, and it's one of the reasons why I'm here with you today. It's because of Access Conference. Access Youth Conference is what it used to be called. All right, with that down, let's get on to this. The draft for the Tennessee Titans has come and gone. The draft is over, and we have the results right here, and I'm going to try to pull this up full screen for you. There we go. So, round 1, pick 1. Obviously, we know who it is. It's Cam Ward. And there goes my cup. Sorry. Sorry about that. Round 1, pick 1 is obviously Cam Ward from Miami. And then we traded back with the 35th pick and picked up pick 52 and 82 via the Seattle Seahawks. In the trade, we finally get a 3rd-round pick back that we traded away for Will Levis 1 year. Then the following year, we traded away for L'Jarius Sneed, the corner out of Kansas City. We get Femi, I'm butchering on the name, from UCLA. Used to be an inside linebacker, then switched to outside linebacker. Raw potential, high character guy. Kevin Winston, the safety out of Penn State. Said to be a 2nd-round pick or a late 1st-round pick if he wasn't injured for the 2024 season. And some experts, including Todd McShay, who loves the Titans draft, by the way, said that Kevin Winston would have been his second or 3rd safety overall grade in this draft had he been healthy in a possible 1st-round pick. Top 50 pick for sure, he says. Then we get our crack at the 1st pick in the 4th round, and the 4th round is where we get fun with this one here. The wide receiver, Chamir Dike is how you pronounce it. It's not pronounced Dyke. So I looked at that last name, then folks were saying, here's how you pronounce it. Do not be the person where you're teaching English to French. You hold a card up. It's the word like. It's like, what's this word? Like. You hold up the next card. It says bike. It's like, what's this word? Bike. And then you hold up this guy's last name. It's like, what's this guy's name? Dyke. No, it's DK. But you said bike and like, but this is not Dyke. It's DK. Yes. English is so stupid. Speedy guy out of Florida. Can take the top off of a defense, and he has specialty with returns. So look for him to be the new returner in kickoffs and in the punt game for Shamir Dike. And then the tight end of Texas, Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm was the security blanket for who's the Texas quarterback? I'm totally blanket on the name right now. Quinn Ewers. He was Quinn Ewers' security blanket at Texas, getting those first downs and those extra yardage that you needed. He is going to become if he can crack the starting lineup And it is possible with this Titans roster and our tight ends room with Chico Okonkwo and MIA. I can't even remember the dude's name. I mean, that's how irrelevant he is. So, yeah, Gunnar Helm, if he can crack that starting lineup, he will be Cam Ward's best friend and security blanket. And now, the most exciting pick of the fourth round, probably outside of Cam Ward, probably the most exciting pick of the NFL draft with our draft picks is the wide receiver out of Stanford who we traded up with the Ravens for pick swaps. We didn't give up anything. We just swapped a few picks in order for us to get a higher pick in round 4. Elik Ayamaner, the wide receiver out of Stanford, set to be a top 100 player, where the Titans got him at 136. Some are saying is a steal. Some are saying he should have been the Titans pick at 103, but we get him at 136. So who cares? He's still a Titan at 103 or 136. No, I mean wherever you want to have at it. The thing with Elik, his highlight of his career is the game 2 years ago versus Colorado and the second overall pick, Travis Hunter. The dude lit him up on the field like a Christmas tree. You want to talk about Travis Hunter being all pro corner? He has great college tape. The scouts will tell you. Oh, yeah, there's that one game he was not good at. And it was against this wide receiver that the Titans drafted. So one has to think that the Titans drafted this wide receiver because of Travis Hunter. And word has gone out that Cam Ward actually requested the Titans to draft. Like, he asked the Tennessee Titans brass to get this guy out of Stanford. And if that's the case, bravo to Cam Ward being the leader. And by the way, Cam Ward was on the phone with all of these draft picks as they were being drafted by Titans, because he immediately was asking for their phone numbers and all that stuff, just being a leader that he is. And then we get the FCS offensive guard, Jackson Slater from Sacramento State at 167. This is the developmental offensive line pick that we've been talking about that the Titans should probably go after in the draft, and they got him right here. And we have Kevin Zeichler at right guard in his twilight years, but he's still an all-pro, now playing for us this year at right guard for the Titans. This can potentially be the heir apparent to the right guard position. Or some are saying that if Lloyd Cushenberry doesn't work out for us at center and he gets injured again, he can be the plug-and-play center for the Titans. And so very exciting to see all that. Just watch some of his bench press videos online. It's pretty fun to watch. And then to close out with our last two picks in round 6, the corner out of California, Marcus Harris, very durable corner, versatile. If something goes wrong with Roger McCreary and we can't re-sign him, that's the plug-and-play guy right there. And then the flyer on the running back, Kalel Mullins out of Michigan. Now, you may remember the college football video game. On the cover was Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and then a running back out of Michigan. Kalel Mullins beat out that guy who was on the college cover, funny enough. And we got him with our very last pick in the NFL draft. And then the cherry on top of it all, it's not on the list here because he is an undrafted free agent, and that is this Xavier Estrepo, Cam Ward's BFF wide receiver out of Miami, has been signed by the Titans as an undrafted free agent. The guy has slot potential specialist guy with the Titans. Now, there are those in my online stratosphere that conspire that Xavier Strippo intentionally bombed his 40-yard dash time so he could play with Cam Ward no matter what, guaranteed he plays with Cam Ward. You watch him on tape, he does not look like he runs a 4.6, 4.8 for a wide receiver. It does not look like that at all. The way he runs, it's like the Wes Welkers, the Julian Edelmans, the Chris Hogans of the world when they were on when they were with the New England Patriots, and Danny Amendola. Those type of slot can sometimes play outside wide receivers, can really be pesky with the ball when they got it, and when they have the ball, they find ways to get yardage after the catch. And it's going to be really exciting to see if Xavier Streppo can crack the final 53-man roster. With the addition, though, with Streppo and then the 2 drafted wide receivers that we have, you carry 6 wide receivers on an active roster in the NFL. That's 3 receivers right there. And normally when you're drafting in the middle of the rounds, like round 3 and 4, you keep your wide receivers on the roster 9 times out of 10. We have on our roster now, we have Calvin Ridley, who's our wide receiver 1. We have Tyler Lockett, who is our wide receiver 2. And then we just signed Van Jefferson. We just signed Tyler Lockett, but we signed Van Jefferson from free agency in March. And then you have Bryce Oliver. You have the lackluster, injured bust of a player, Treylon Burks. You have Colton Dowell of Mike Vrabel infamy from years ago. If these wide receivers can crack if the 3 rookie wide receivers that we got with I'm going to call him Dyke. It sounds better. Dyke, Ao, and Xavier. If those 3 can crack the roster, I'm looking at Burks to be out. I'm looking at Van Jefferson to possibly bite the dust. And Bryce Oliver is definitely going to hit the road probably. Because Bryce Oliver is fighting for that spot that Xavier Streppo would be fighting for that type of wide receiver role. Ao is going to be the NWI of our offense. He is going to be that 3rd or 4th wide receiver initially as we start the season, where you just get like when you're in touchdown range or some 3rd down plays, he's out there, get him the ball, and he's going to break loose for something. And last year was NWI's breakout year after Burks got hurt and he was out for the rest of the year. Rest is history. He led the Titans with receiving touchdowns for a wide receiver 4. Leading touchdowns for a football team. No wonder we got the first overall pick. Because our quarterback can't find our other wide receivers and other weapons properly because he's throwing them to the other team or making memes of himself every other Sunday. Outside Cam Ward, overall, great draft. Really good draft. I give it a solid B right now. If Cam Ward hits for you, obviously, this becomes an A. If Kevin Winston is your future safety, a la Kevin Byard style, if Gunnar Helm can take over the tight end spot, if these wide receivers that we got can find a spot on the roster for the next 2-3 years. You're making noise on offense right there. And going into 2026, you're not worried about a wide receiver or a tight end possibly as like your main priority. If you're having to focus on running back as your top offensive priority, you're doing something right. Because that means your O-line you don't have to worry about. your tight ends, your receivers, and your quarterback you don't have to worry about. Me, I'm old-fashioned. Get a fullback in the room, please. I would love an old-fashioned fullback in the house. Hey, if anything, make Chigakonkwo a full-time fullback now and take him away from the tight end spot. It'd be like the Ahmad Hall that we used to have back in the day when we had fullbacks. If we're prioritizing running back in the 2026 draft, we're doing something right this year. Obviously, we're doing something right. And so our secondary looks good. Our edge rushers look good for this year. That's probably where the priority will be next year. Is we're gonna get someone on defense. I would, if that's the case, I preferably be an edge rusher. Tackle that. Our secondary, like our DBs, are I would say we have a deep DB roster for at least the next 2 years. You can flirt with 3. Definitely in the next 2 years. This year, next year, you're deep at that position. And so, it'll be exciting to see. And Cam Ward did get number 1. He did get the number 1 number for his jersey. Warren Moon gave him his blessing. And it was a beautiful flurry of online videos and press conferences that the Titans have done. That is just like their social media team when they did the Warren Moon legacy video, tying in Cam Ward now having the jersey number unretired now for Cam Ward to wear. That video was just I would say is much that's a much more exciting and better video than the Houston Oilers drip video that the Titans released back in 2023. That's just my opinion. And so we'll go on to this next topic right here. And Jacob Tinkersley, if you're watching this, sorry, buddy, but we got to talk about it. The Batman 2. We have news from Production Weekly, essentially the Bible of Hollywood, essentially. One of the few Bibles, the 10 Commandments that folks listen to online when it comes to said production news. And so it lists off as I pulled up over here, it lists off that the Batman 2 has a production start date for March of 2026. So you're thinking, oh, okay, finally they're going to get to it. And then you read the line right there. Now, while it lists Matt Reeves as still one of the film's writers, it does not list him as a director. Now, this whole saga of, by the way, this film was supposed to come out in October of this year. That is how many times this film has gotten delayed and pushed back for reasons of give him time to write the film. He needs to have the perfect script. Like Matt Reeves is a slow writer and director in terms of crafting his stories. And then we hear word that he may not be on at all because of a health-related issue. We don't know. We're just left to speculate. But at this point, you have two thought processes with this. One, if Matt Reeves is not directing this film, thought process number 1, take this film, this franchise that you have been waiting for Matt Reeves to do, and then it's like, oh, he can't do it anymore. Take it behind the, as Kevin O'Leary would say on Shark Tank, you need to take this behind the barn and shoot it. Shoot it, move on. Because this thing just ain't going to work out somehow. It just ain't going to work out one way or another. Thought process number 2. And Matt Reeves has some history with this because he did this with another franchise. Is the director himself, Matt Reeves, has laid the groundwork. He has written the script. He has laid the groundwork for the Penguin. He was executive producer on The Penguin, but he was not the director of The Penguin. You have the groundwork laid out there for this universe that a competent director that you can find can come in, look at the script, look at the vision that Matt Reeves was going to go for, and respect that vision and execute it on screen. That's thought process number 2. There's 3. Third process, and this kind of ties in with the first one. Leave it behind the barn and focus on your DCU new Batman that is involved with the new Superman movie, which we know it's coming, but we don't have any word on it nor any movement towards it. So this film was released in March of 22. Usually a film can get done in 2 to 3 years. By the time this film is supposedly supposed to come out in October of 2027, after being pushed back from October 25 to October 26 to October of 27 now. It's been pushed back a year and then a year on top of that to now October 2027. If we supposedly get this film by October of 2027, that would have been almost 6 years you're waiting on a sequel to a live action movie. It'd be one thing if you're seeing this character in another franchise's movie, you see him in a team-up movie, and then you finally get the solo movie, but you saw him in between during those low patches of where he never had a movie. You saw it where it's like, oh, you saw him pop up in different areas. So it alleviated the fact that, like, oh, where's this movie? Oh, but he's popping up here. The Batman has its ups. There are some flaws to that movie. Again, my friend Jacob, if you're watching this, and I will repeat what you say to me, you claim this to be the best Batman movie to ever have been made. I still struggle to see why. And I know I like teasing you about these Batman updates, but I mean, I feel for you, because if this was Spider-Man, my favorite property, I feel the same way you would, man. I take it behind the barn and shoot it as well myself. But if Superman is a big success, the urgency to make this second Batman movie in this Matt Reeves universe is going to I think it's going to be put on the back burner, because if you get momentum from Superman and this new universe that's being launched with DC Studios, this brand new rebooted universe being launched with Superman, and it's well received with critics and fans, that Batman 2 sequel can probably wait a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Even though it may frustrate some fans that want to see standalone films. Even though the last time we got a standalone movie from DC, it was Joker 2, and that was not good. That was not good. And I know James Gunn and DC Studios has said they want to make Elseworld stories, and this would constitute that. But like James Gunn said, in his own words, he's not going to announce a movie until the film is ready to be shot, like has a director, script, and all that ready to go. This is one of the things he made a mistake with. He assumed, and pretty much all of us did, hey, the film came out in 2022. Okay, 2025 is your release date. Here's 2025 for you for your release date. Go ahead, finish up the script. Let's get some shooting rolling, and then we can have it ready for you by 2025. Little do we know of what's happening in the mind of Matt Reeves, or something personal that's going on that we don't know yet. That's up to Matt Reeves to reveal to the public at a future time. All right. With that down, we're going to get into this bit here, and that is this. Coming off of Thunderbolts, this guy, Jake Schreier, coming off of Thunderbolts, is now going to be helming the Marvel Cinematic Universe X-Men solo movie, coming to us from Deadline, and they write the following down here as I try to pull it up right down here. Following the successful launch of Thunderbolts, and yes, the asterisk means something, and you will see what that is in the next segment here. Director Jake Schreier might already have his sights on the next big Marvel Studios project, as sources tell Deadline. He is in early talks to direct the studio's new X-Men movie. It's unknown where things stand in the deal-making process, but insiders say that following a meeting this past week, Schreier looks to be the top choice to take on the studio's most anticipated projects, and that Michael Leslie penned the script for Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige producing. And this also comes out with the report that this guy, the director of Thunderbolts, has turned down multiple directing offers from other studios, which lines up with this Deadline report that he is going to now set his sights on the mutants with X-Men. And so, with that being said, what do I think about this potential get for Marvel? As we'll discuss with the next topic with our review of Thunderbolts. Great get. Great hire. The film he directed had a vision. There are no setbacks behind the scenes like we heard with Captain America 4. None of that. Took a script, directed the heck out of it, and put all of his effort on the screen with the direction of the acting, the screenplay, and everything involved with it. If he can bring the sensitivities that he did with Thunderbolts to the X-Men, this is going to be one of the better X-Men films since Days of Future Past, which came out over 10 years ago. Really? 2014. Man, time flies by. X-Men Days of Future Past is 11 years old. Really? This is crazy. How time flies by. And so, after many years since Disney acquired 20th Century Fox, which then Disney took those licenses of X-Men and Fantastic Four and gave them back to Marvel, folks have been wondering the two questions. When is Fantastic Four coming? When is X-Men coming? When are the mutants coming? When is anybody from those areas coming? We've got a hint of the mutants in Black Panther 2. We have the hint of mutants from Miss Marvel, with her being a mutant. We have Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously. We have the upcoming Fantastic Four movie being directed by the head honcho behind WandaVision, which was a really good show. We have all these pieces that have been compiled since 2018, and we are now finally to that point where something is about to be palatable and it's going to be tangible to look at, taste, and see. Marvel Studios' X-Men movie. We have seen what they have done with, and I've had this conversation with previous guests on the show. Marvel Studios built up their universe on the back of B and C-list characters, some D-list characters, if you're being honest with yourself, because that's how Hollywood viewed them. Hollywood viewed A-tier, A-list characters of Marvel as the following. Spider-Man, obviously. X-Men, obviously. Fantastic Four after that. Some of it Daredevil, but it lasted with one film. Ghost Rider for another sect. Blade, which had the first ever movie, started it all before X-Men came along and upped the ante on that. And then you had everything else that Marvel had to work with. And then when they showed us they can make great movies with lower tier IP and make them top tier IP, what could they do with top tier IP that they didn't have access to? Now we see proof in the pudding. The Spider-Man Home trilogy with Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. That collaboration with Sony, with them taking the reins of the Spider-Man solo films, live action right there, with those 3 films. Them taking the lead on that. It has done wonders for the Spider-Man franchise, and Marvel has shown us what great things they can do with Spider-Man, and Sony is reaping the benefits off of it with the box office profits per the arrangement they have with Disney and Marvel. Almost cracking $2 billion, No Way Home did, despite not having a China release date. Remember, back in 2020, like late 2020, 2021, through parts of 2022, China banned every single, by the way, all this talk with tariff stuff of, oh, China's going to ban U.S. films. American films aren't going to be able to make as much money as they used to. We lived through it already. We know what it's like. Make a good movie, and it will make money. It will make money if you make a good movie. Spider-Man showed that. Most of the Marvel films after that show that. With Black Panther 2, even though we all know it's not good as the first one, it nearly cracked $1 billion. Doctor Strange 2 nearly cracked $1 billion. No Way Home almost cracked $2 billion with no China release date. No China release date. So we know what world would look like in Hollywood standards if China were to go ahead with the whole threat of, we are not between this whole tariff war that's going on right now, of what would happen if China did not have in their markets American Hollywood films. We know what that reality looks like. Make a good movie, and it will bring you in the big bucks. That has been proven over and over again, pretty much 9 times out of 10. Now, we saw what happened with X-Men 97, their TV show on Disney+. At first, I was one of those pessimistic folks. I'm like, this is a continuation of the 90s show? Which was not the popular one. Spider-Man was the popular 90s show, not X-Men. They do that for their crack at the X-Men property? A-plus show. A-plus show. I cannot believe how invested I was in that show, and it felt like I never missed a beat with missing the other seasons in the 90s, because I was the guy always watching Spider-Man cartoons, not the X-Men cartoons back in the day. And so we see what they have done with Spider-Man, X-Men 97. Deadpool and Wolverine is another example. They have proven over and over and over and over again, they're top tier comic book characters, they're top tier IP characters. They are gold mines for Marvel because they know how to handle them, because they have richer stories than the other characters do that they started with, and they make great movies with them out of them regardless. Now imagine all this great material they have that they can do, and we've seen the proof. The Spider-Man trilogy that they have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, X-Men 97, and now Deadpool and Wolverine. Fantastic Four is up next. Is that film going to make money? Let's hope so, because Fantastic Four is the property that still may have a lot of bad taste in some people's mouths because 10 years ago, Josh Trank's Fan Stick came out, and that was a big turd pile of garbage of a film. Probably one of the worst films in Hollywood history, and one of the worst somewhere in the top 10 of worst comic book movies ever made in Hollywood. So Marvel has a great track record, and there's what more can you say? Like, we have finally arrived to see the day that after Secret Wars, they are going to focus on the mutants. That is going to be the next saga after this whole multiverse stuff is over with Doomsday and Secret Wars. This is all going to be mutant based. In Phase 7 on, all mutant based. And what can Marvel do with an overarching story involving one of their popular IPs with mutants, with Wolverine, with the X-Men, with Magneto, the Brotherhood, all that stuff, all those characters that they can now unlock and use for their own. The possibilities with what this guy has done as director for Thunderbolts is endless. Now, with that being said, late review, but I'm giving it to you anyway. Thunderbolts is now out. Sorry. A little loogie there. And you see right down there. Right down there. Am I pointing to it correctly? Yeah, right there. Right down there is the actual title of the movie. That is what the asterisk in Thunderbolts is for. When you see any marketing with Thunderbolts, and then you see the little bing asterisk to the side. This right here is the actual title of the movie, The New Avengers. Now, let's get one thing out of the way. You may have seen a particular character not in the marketing as much and hidden in some of the posters. That would be Taskmaster. And I will pull this up on the full screen right here. That would be Taskmaster. A villain that has such rich potential, made the first appearance in Black Widow in 2021. And folks were understandably so. And in the middle there, you see the comic book you see the comic book version of Taskmaster. Essentially, the dude can copy and mimic anybody in their fighting style, except for one man, and that is Deadpool. Funny enough, he cannot imitate, mimic, or predict Deadpool's actions. He can for anyone else except for Deadpool. You have that character going into Black Widow, and then they do the reveal that was loathed on the online stratospheres for that particular character. And for that particular character, unfortunately, they not only they butcher the character, they gender swap the character for no reason. The costume was not received well. And it leaned towards those those polarizing discussion points of what has failed Hollywood with some of the wokeness that has happened in Hollywood. It was not woke, but it teetered on the edge of it for folks to have that topic of conversation. You can have a gender-swapped Taskmaster if you want to. I honestly don't care. And the character himself really doesn't really matter as much in terms of it being gender-swapped. But when you have that gender-swapped, and it was a badly written character in Black Widow, and this character did not look good, and the stunt double was a dude. A ripped dude you can find online. Black Widow Taskmaster stunt double. It is a man. And then it's a woman actually portraying the character. Add all that together, you had a recipe for disaster for online trolls and whatnot. Then the funny part happens, and here's the spoiler alert for this particular thing. Here's the spoiler alert for why you haven't seen much of Taskmaster. And by the way, Black Widow, comic book, Thunderbolts version of Taskmaster. Much improved for Thunderbolts. Gets axed within the first few minutes of the movie. Shot in the head by one of the characters, Ghost. Like, that's the character's name, Ghost. Ghost appears in front of her and shoots her right away. That is, like, in the theater I went to, when that happened, there were applause and laughters when that happened. I was one of those folks that was laughing because this was such a badly written character that if they killed off this character, I would actually jump with joy, because then we would get the hope of possibly Marvel retconning the Taskmaster character and hatch. And I mean, look at this right here. Like, this is Taskmaster from the Spider-Man video game, and they did him right. They did him justice. He is a Taskmaster is a mercenary. He hunts for money. He does everything for money. He's up for the highest bidder. And he is just a bad you-know-what. He kicks butt, and he is an awesome character when done correctly, when realized correctly. The way Marvel did it in Black Widow, and then the fan backlash with that, and then what happened in Thunderbolts was just icing on the cake. It's like, thank you, Marvel. You've listened to us. Thank you. All right. With that out of the way, though, I mean, just so we can do one more little tidbit on Taskmaster. There's rumblings that after Secret Wars, this whole thing will be like quasi rebooted. Like, some of it rebooted, some of it not, with the Marvel Universe. One timeline now, which involves X-Men, Fantastic Four, and all the other characters. Do something with this. Bring him back properly this time. Bring him back in a Deadpool 4. Bring him back as a mercenary guy in one of the upcoming Spider-Man movies. Maybe Spider-Man 5 or 6. Do that. There you go. I just solved your problems. You can send me the check in the mail. This movie, the review, really surprising. Really surprisingly good. I was expecting this movie to be like good, like not Captain America good with bad script. I was thinking Iron Man 2, Thor 2 type of good, where like I can watch it. The script's not an issue, but some people do have those issues with it, obviously. I don't know why. Those films are still better than some of the worst craps the worst turds that Marvel has put out in recent years. Did not care for Yelena. Did not care for Walmart Captain America, John Walker. The U.S. agent is his name. But this movie, the way they've written it, the way it is directed, this movie is really up there in terms of quality and all sorts of things with how good this movie is. This movie really hits on some really deep tones, some really deep, some would say dark tones of the Marvel side of the universe. It deals with the topics of anxiety, being alone, the the importance of having a family, the importance of always having each other's back. And some of that may sound cheesy, but the way it was executed was really, really great. It was really great. And the highlight, like the surprise breakout, I would say, is Yelena, who's Black Widow's sister, the John Walker character in Ghost. John Walker, who we follow up with from the Falcon Winter Soldier show. This film does something better than what the Marvels did. The Marvels was introducing. So here's the setup for you. Thunderbolts and the Marvels introduced in their main lineup a character that first appeared in a previous television show. This is their movie debut right now. Afterwards, the Marvels had Monica Rambeau from WandaVision and Miss Marvel from the Miss Marvel show show up in the Marvels movie with Captain Marvel. Marketing for that movie and the viewing of that actual movie, it felt like you had to do homework and know who these characters were before watching the movie. It wasn't a, hey, here are these two characters and here's some of their backstory to it so you can get caught up with it. Like, here's a quick recap with them, or here's like a quick understanding of these characters. None of that whatsoever. You would have thought going into the Marvels, like, were they in the last Marvel movie? Did I miss something? Were they in the first Captain Marvel movie back in 2019? Where did the characters come from? Did I miss something? Did I miss something here? And that's one of the reasons why the Marvels failed. Now in Thunderbolts here, John Walker, first introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier, the Captain America replacement, and then discharged dishonorably for what he did in that show. They set up his character. There's a scene in this movie where they show a quick backstory to him, and it's actually an aftermath of what happened after that show ends with his character. But it's a great starting point for someone who doesn't even know this character. They watch this particular scene where they see him, his son, his child, and his wife in this scene. Perfectly sets up who he is, why he's sometimes a douchebag, why he's such an a-hole sometimes to these characters, why he is the way he is. And you felt sympathy for him. You felt bad for him. You felt like, you just felt that pit in your stomach of like, God, man, like if I was in that position, like if we were ever in that low point in our lives, like that could be me sort of feeling. And then there's a sequence that had Inception written all over it with mirrors and different settings. Great sequence at the end of the movie. The highlight of this movie, this guy behind me with the beard, Red Guardian, Russians, super soldier. Highlight of the movie for me. This is not a spoiler. For a story plot point. So you have Yelena, Bucky, Ghost, and John Walker walking through not Bucky. You have these three walking through this desert, and then you see this car coming. It's honking. Yelena knows it's her dad, the Red Guardian, and she is so embarrassed covers her face, and then Red Guardian gets out of the car and says, "Yelena, they're gonna blow up the place. I'm here to warn you and save you." I did a horrible job mimicking that, but that was probably one of the biggest belching, laugh out loud moments I've ever had in a theater in a long while. That was, because we all have that family member that embarrasses us like that. Like, big example is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, for example. You have so many other real life situations where we have that one family member where we're like, oh my God, no, are they? No. And then they arrive, they embarrass you, and you're like, why? Why are you my family? I love you, but you are so embarrassing. You're embarrassing me. Red Guardian in this movie was awesome. Was really awesome. And the father-daughter dynamic that they somewhat touched in Black Widow fully realized in Thunderbolts, in my opinion. It was fully realized in Thunderbolts, and there's a scene where it's like, oh, like, we failed our mission, and Yelena has this moment with her dad where she says to him essentially like where have you been all this time? I would have where have you been? Like, now you want to be here with me. Where have you been? And then Red Guardian, her dad's like, I thought you didn't want me. I thought you wanted your distance, because if I did come to you, you would hate me for not giving you your space. And then she has, if you read the script and you see the line, I feel so alone, you would think that's cheesy. But the way the emotion is being carried through the screen, like during this father-daughter moment, and then she says that line, I feel so alone. In tears. The emotion. Man, that got me. That got me so much, especially I've known friends and family that have gone through that. It's rough. And it once again shows an important message. Not only on the message of family that I talked about importantly, but also the message, and it's a very important one, the message of having fathers in the household, for families to have successful families, successful sons and daughters, that the percentage of children doing well and great in their life is if they have a stable household and they have a father figure that is a healthy father figure that is in the household. That is such an important topic that does not get addressed enough in our society, that those of, I always have to remind myself how lucky I am to have the father that I have that others don't have, because they're either in jail, they're dead, or God knows what. It's one of those things in that movie where it just reminded me of how thankful I am to have the father figure in my life with my father, and the example he has set in our house, and the example that he has laid out for me that I want to set in my house for our future family. And I mean, man, I'm tearing up just thinking about it, just thinking about that scene and what it just brought to me when I watched the movie. Quick side note before we get out of here. This looks like it does not run in conjunction with the events of Daredevil Born Again, because at the end of it, there's a martial law. No supers are allowed. and yet this is in New York City, and there are supers flying all over the place. And so maybe that's a situation where the Thunderbolts are government operatives per se. And so who knows? But season 2 is supposed to tackle that, and then we'll see what happens at the end of Spider-Man, and we'll see what happens in Spider-Man Brave New World, because that is supposedly the launching point for Daredevil after season 2 is when Spider-Man Brave New World happens. All right. With that being said, we're closing out the show right there. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. I'm hoping to get a co-star here soon. I promise you, he or she is on the way, okay? We are going to get another co-star, a co-lead with us, and I can't wait for that to happen. I think we may have something on the horizon. Until the next time, guys, my name is Joshua Mickle. Until then, keep kicking it to the king.